Hey guys, Omni here. There's a couple of pieces of information that just kind of slipped under the radar with DC FanDome this past weekend. I know we were live streaming a lot of the DC TV panels over on the Watchverse, but apparently there was some sneaky little Q&As hiding in the Insiderverse that we missed out on. It would have been fun to kind of live stream and get the experience with you all, but it unfortunately we didn't catch on to it. But some people have been reporting on it. It's been brought to my attention, and kind of after the fact, I did go through and watch a lot of these interviews. But there's two key things that kind of came out about that I wanted to get your all's thoughts on and just kind of let you all know about in case you haven't come across it yet. The first one I wanted to touch on is just a little bit of information. This is the smaller of the two things that we kind of missed, and it's regarding Shazam 2. Fury of the Gods. A little bit more information about what we might expect to see in there, and we got a little bit of a tease. So at the end of Shazam 1, we see that the whole family, the Foster family, all ended up with the powers. We got the Shazam family in live action, and they did tell us that now that they're all superheroes, they are a family with superpowers. And we only got a little bit of a taste of that in the first movie, but we will see a lot more of it in part two. They will be a superhero fighting family team. So we got that to look forward to. That's the small nugget. So the other one is some juicy information, some possible breadcrumbs of what to expect from the Flash movie. There was some stuff said by both Barbara and Andy Muschietti that kind of gives us a little bit of an idea of what to expect. So he did go ahead and confirm that this is not an adaptation of Flashpoint. So it's not going to be a direct adaptation. We're likely not even going to see some similar story beats that we saw in Flashpoint. It is inspired by Flashpoint. And what I think that means is something that is further said by Barbara in this later commentary as well. It's like, well, what I want you to go see it, so I'm not going to tell you a lot, but I will tell you that it's a ride. It's going to be fun and exciting, and there's a lot of DC characters in it. So we're going to be seeing a lot more DC characters. We know that Cyborg right now is kind of up in the air about whether or not he's going to show on it. I think that a lot of what is happening right now with Ray Fisher and his accusations against Warner Brothers and the productions of the Justice League will maybe play into how his role forms into that movie. I'm sure with what we saw in Crisis and what we know of their dynamic, their relationship that was built up in Justice League, he was going to be a key part of it. Of course, we know that Ben Affleck is returning as his Batman from the DCEU, as well as Michael Keaton coming in to reprise the role as the Tim Burton '89 Batman in an alternate version of this reality. So what this is going on to say, we along with them, we're going to be seeing a lot of other DC characters. And just to kind of continue where I left off with what she said, is that the Flash is a superhero of this film because he is the bridge that between all of these characters and timelines. And in a way, it restarts everything and doesn't forget anything. Now, I know a lot of us were kind of thinking about, it's Flashpoint. Is it going to play out exactly like it does in the comics, where it pretty much resets the entire DC universe so that they could start fresh with a brand new continuity? And that's what happens. That's how we got the new 52. I've been saying this for a long time because of the struggle and the mess that Warner Brothers has been having and behind the scenes about what to do with their connected universe. They've been nailing it, knocking it out of the park with some of their solo films and some of their non-connected films like Joker, and a lot of anticipation for The Batman, which is also not connected. But, Aquaman saw some success, Wonder Woman saw some success, and Shazam critically was a success despite the lower box office performance of it. And Birds of Prey, again, more of a critical success than a financial one. So I think in the long run, we're seeing some traction going the way it's going, and as well as Warner Brothers being a lot more open to artistic vision under the new leadership of Walter Amada. Even though there's still a lot of drama going on, just some leftover repercussions from what happened back with the previous CEOs, previous leads of Warner Brothers Pictures, and the events that led to the Justice League version of the film of Justice League we saw in theaters. So I've been saying for a long time to kind of clean up this mess, especially since they kind of wanted to do a soft reboot with the Suicide Squad. So how that film plays out is going to, I think, be a key element of how they move forward with it. but this is going to allow them to clean up their continuity. It can. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. Either because of the phrasing there at the end, in a way, it restarts everything and it doesn't forget anything. So, what that could mean, some interpretations I've seen on this has been that maybe it doesn't reset the continuity at all. Maybe it just opens it up and puts it into solid, concrete visual evidence for the general audience that anything you have ever seen and everything that has ever been on the big screen, small screen of DC, and much in the way that Crisis on Infinite Earths was getting at, all exists. It doesn't forget anything. Kind of this idea, and this is kind of something that Walter Hamada, Greg Berlanti, and Jim Lee have said in their interview last DC FanDome, is that this is all connected. DC exists. Like, things aren't just deleted, erased, they all exist in the multiverse. That's the beauty of the multiverse. So you can always have your favorite version of every character. So maybe, like we've been talking about, with however this project of the Snyder Cut goes, maybe they don't have to erase Batfleck. Maybe they don't have to erase Henry Cavill. Maybe they don't have to erase those elements of those timelines if that succeeds. Now, Flash could just get us hard set on this new vision, this unified vision of the multiverse and these various time streams, these various iterations of characters. And, they could throw in things that we've seen before, visualizations from other iterations of the characters we've seen in the past, or they could even introduce some new characters just in one-off little flickers, flashes, cameos, whatever, because we're not going to be lingering in it too long. In a way, just kind of really building and showing and presenting the multiverse as it currently exists and where it can exist from this point going forward. On the flip side of that, it can very well be the restart point. It will connect all these different tissues. And even like Zack Snyder said in a recent interview, that he now sees, because of everything that's happened after he left the Justice League project, that he considers his version of the film to be its own continuity. Maybe these events separate that and the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel, BVS, his Justice League, the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, all of that will permeate into its own timeline, divergent of wherever WB wants to take the main DCEU continuity that they've been building post-Justice League, as well as all of the disconnected little threads here and there with the Batman, the Joker, and whatever they have coming down the pipeline will be going off in their little spider webs. We'll be seeing it all kind of spiderweb crack out of the Flash movie. And we saw this same thing in the TV show, even when Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin came face to face. And they've said that, like they said, there's going to be a lot of DC characters in this movie. I really hope that either, if not just that scene from Crisis ends up in the crossover, but to have one with Grant himself or various other Flashes, it'd be a lot of fun, because we've already got two Batmen showing up to reprise their roles and return for this fun little ride through the multiverse. Why not? Why not bring them on? They would hands down do it and agree to it. And I think another reason that might be likely too is because when CW was doing their Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, they were done. They were done shooting. They were in the middle of post-production when they got the call from Jim Lee, Walter Hamada, WB, and they were asked if they had time to film something with Ezra Miller. They didn't like, hey, can we play with Ezra for a little bit? No. They're like, hey, can you guys can we send you Ezra? Maybe, please? And I think that's one of the reasons why they are very excited about building up this idea, building out the multiverse. I am a little disappointed that even though this is a movie that's going to be inspired by Flashpoint, we're not likely going to see a lot of those Flashpoint elements. I don't even know if Reverse Flash is going to be in this. I don't know if I know for a fact they've at least confirmed that we're not going to have the Atlantean Amazonian War. Um, and it just even further means that I don't think we're going to be seeing Jeffrey Dean Morgan reprise his role as Thomas Wayne, which is something I was really looking forward to. I think this is I think there's a lot of different ways you can look at this and a lot of different ways you can take this information and kind of run with it. But it still gives me a little bit of hope that maybe they're not going to discard what they currently have. And I think it opens the doors too for us to still have something branch out from Zack Snyder's vision and maybe still find a home for it, even if it's not in the main DC continuity. Um, Maybe they'll still carry it on in its own thread. And that's kind of what, like I said, that's what Zack Snyder himself has said, as he doesn't see his stuff as part of the current universe. He sees it as the Snyderverse, its own thing. And I don't think that we've seen anything that necessarily discounts anything that was in his version, unless there's something in there that drastically changes a lot of that. Um, so there's a lot of possibilities out of this, and this is something I wanted to put out there for you guys, for our community, to hear your all's thoughts on it. So guys, sound off in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everybody.